Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Quarantime. As always, I'm your host, RP, and joining me in the studio, my co-host, M3. Hope everyone's having a comfy afternoon. We've got plenty to go over today. Not like we never do, but we got posts. There's some really interesting news happening. Big moves taking place in Washington, D.C. Please do us a favor. Remember to like and share this broadcast. Help us break through the algorithm. Good afternoon, love. How you doing, baby? Hey, Mom. Hey, Mods. Wheezy, Jojo, everybody. Patriots from all over the world. UK, Texas, Orlando, Sedona, Riverside, Seattle, Michigan, Alabama, Nevada, New Jersey, Texas, Virginia, North Carolina, Ireland, ILS. All right, guys, please do us a favor. Sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. With the majority of the world's workforce now working from home, VPN security is highly preferred. Cyber spying is at an all-time high, and a useful tool you can use to protect yourself is a VPN or virtual private network. Use it to scramble your computer's identity from nosy cyber criminals. Let me show you guys how easy it is. Alright, so here we are. We'll go to what is my IP. You can see it's right there. Now, when I connect to Virtual Shield, that will mask my actual location, and it now shows that I am here in Chicago, Illinois, and my location is secure. Now, due to the recent situation with CV-19, Virtual Shield wants to extend a Customer Appreciation Month to all of my listeners. They're offering 50% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, Residential Access, and VIP Performance plans for as low as a cup of coffee. You can sign up today at virtualshield.com/redpill78, get the free trial, and see what all the hype is about. You've got nothing to lose, and when you support my sponsors, you support this channel.
Man, I'm doing good, ready to rock. Hope everybody in the chat's doing well. Mandalorian, no, I'm not dropping our Anon post before the show, but happy you're here, brother. Yeah, man, let's get into it. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. Hey, they're saying muted.
All right, I am back. No clone today, and I forgot the logo, but it's all right. I don't have a web link for Red Pills Warhawk, but Red Pills Warhawk, if you are in the chat, send me a message on Twitter, brother. And I'll share whatever it is that you want me to share so people can get a hold of you to make orders for your awesome custom tomahawks. I'm telling you guys. You're going to want one of these. This is beautiful. This is American craftsmanship right here. Definitely you're going to want to get a hold of one. Okay, all right. Now that I've plugged my buddy, let's take a look at our first little bit of news, you guys. I want you to see something. There is this beautiful woman who's been posting pictures of her Donald Trump socks on the internet, and I wanted to show it off because it's a pretty sweet thing to see. Here you go. You have this this lovely lass, Red Pill 78 girlfriend, real Red Pill 78 girlfriend, and she's got these Trump socks on. You can see showing off her patriotism, the president dancing nonstop. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to my lady into the chat, and if you guys are not following her, I would please ask that you would, because she is always going to post the information for my videos when I put them out, and also give you notifications of when Quarantime and Comfy Sunday and Friday Night Live Stream and Saturday Night Live Stream, all of the shows. We have so many shows here at the Red Pill 78 channel. Methods, when I started doing this, I thought to myself, I would love it if I could give people an option to like really have something that would stand up against actual, traditional programming. And I remember thinking it would be so cool if I could have like a bunch of different kinds of shows, because I know that there's going to be some people that want to watch Quarantine. There's going to be some people that want to watch the news at 6. There's going to be some people that want to watch Comfy Sunday and the Saturday Night Live Stream. They're all different shows. That's what's so great about it. We've got so much content here, and I appreciate you guys being here to help us and join in on the fun.
Right. Yeah. No, we knew that having like casual conversations, hanging out, with various friends of ours and other people that all the audience knows. So no, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I hope everybody in the chat enjoys it.
Yes. So the first thing we wanted to talk about today, after I showed off my girlfriend's socks, is that somebody's back in the hospital. You're not going to be surprised when you hear about this. And it's Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She was hospitalized with an infection, and she underwent a non-surgical treatment. There we go. 1770 sticks at protonmail.com. 1770 sticks. 1770 sticks at protonmail.com. There we go. There he is. You guys can get a hold of my buddy there and get yourself a custom tomahawk. It's totally worth it. So Ruth Bader Ginsburg back in the hospital. It seems like every time something's going on, they got to trot her back out and put her in the news so that people can remind us that she's still with us, still alive and well, even if barely clinging to life. I guess I don't know, though. I don't know if it's real. I don't know what's going on in this world anymore.
Yeah, I really don't know, man. We now have apparently more proof of life that Kim Jong-un is alive than her. But yeah, they're going to use it as a narrative point to kind of just distract, because they need something to come out of nowhere, like Kung Flu or murder hornets.
Murder hornets.
Right.
I want to say this is probably my favorite meme that our favorite Anon has posted. The Kim Jong-un trolling CNN. Hello, is this CNN? I have confidential information about the death of Kim Jong-un, and then just cracking up. I absolutely love it, because I bet you that's what happened. I mean, he says trolling can be fun, and I wonder exactly who it was that made that call to CNN to say that Kim Jong-un was no longer with us.
And also, it's been kind of theorized out there that was this a leak to catch somebody by putting out something bombshell enough that they would have to jump on it.
Yeah.
Just kind of mention it casually in front of somebody they suspect, and then it would leak, and then they could just kind of follow the trail.
Yeah.
But yeah, regardless, I'm just grateful that it's more than likely is a troll, because that's awesome.
All right. I need to say thank you to Bruce Wayne. He says, check email from Willow Pet Hotel regarding enamel pin. Okay, let me just do a search for Willow Pet Hotel. There we go. Okay, that way I'll be able to find it. Red Pill logo swag idea. Okay. All right, I got it. Willow Hotel, Willow Pet Hotel. I'll take a look at it after the show. Need to also say thank you to Red Pill's Warhawk for putting his email into the chat. Rook's Castle says, I got 99 problems, but a Warhawk ain't one. Red Pill's Warhawk says, because I love y'all. Looney Tunes says, when are you going to get Carrie Cassidy on? I don't know how to get in touch with Carrie Cassidy. I've never spoken with her. Tracy S says, RBG on SC. Oh, yeah, Supreme Court phone-in arguments today. I mean, I still don't know of anybody that's actually seen her. Or there's been like a verified sighting of her. It seems like the only time they've been able to put out proof of life, I feel like every time it's been debunked. I mean, people have like matched it up with outfits she wore previously. Now, I can attest to the fact that sometimes people later in life, they tend to just rewear the same outfits. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know necessarily. But methods, we were going to talk next about that other post, but I completely forgot to mention to you that I thought post 4115 was pretty important. The information about Tanzania, the president of Tanzania, John Mafugli, he apparently thought that something was fishy with the testing kits for CV-19, and so he allowed them to be imported into the country. And then he covertly tested a pawpaw fruit and a goat, and then gave the testing results back to the lab and pretended it was a person, and they both tested positive. So, I mean, it tells me one of two things. Either the testing process itself is completely fraudulent, which would mean also perhaps that the situation itself is completely fraudulent, or the CV stuff is all around us all the time, and, you know, something is different to make some people sick, or perhaps nobody is at all. I don't know.
Right. I mean, the numbers being jacked up for them to use and fearmonger over, you know, that would add to it, right? If they've got people testing positive, you know, with a test that's going to test positive regardless, whether you're, you know, fruit or a goat, then yeah, I mean, it would make sense that they would be putting stuff out like that.
Yeah. All right. So the next thing that we wanted to talk about was John Ratcliffe. This is, I think this was in one of the posts the other day, or maybe it wasn't in one of the posts. It was just something that was going around. But NBC News wrote a hit piece on John Ratcliffe, saying that he follows several Twitter accounts that are based around our favorite Anon. And based upon that, I suppose they're calling into question whether or not he could be an effective DNI.
Right. I mean, first off, this has got to be a badge of honor, pat on the back. You have to think when this first got started, because we were on social media when our favorite Anon showed up, or close to it. Like, we've built this up so much and created so much noise and really just pissed off them so much that they use this movement to attack the director of national intelligence, you know, nominee. How big of a deal is that, right?
Oh, it's huge.
We became that big of a problem. And it also shows that they are terrified of him, which they should be. They absolutely should be. Ratcliffe is a patriot.
Yeah. Now, MAGA Kitten in the chat said it could also mean the tests themselves were contaminated. That wouldn't be the first time that happened. I mean, I covered something here on the channel about tests going into the UK that were found to be contaminated, and I believe that the same thing happened here in the United States with tests being contaminated. White Hat, if you're in the chat and you can set me straight on that point right there. Now, here's the other thing is I don't know if it was actual contamination on the tests or if the tests were just not sterile from the get-go. But I mean, the CVs themselves are in nature. I mean, it's all around. I mean, basically the common cold is a version of that. And it's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just another thing to point to the fact that this is overblown to a large degree. I still don't know anyone directly affected. I know that I saw people in the chat previously talking about thinking that they might have been. I mean, I don't know. I don't know a single person. And it also just came out from Project Veritas Methods that CBS News completely faked a testing event so that they could film it and then put it out for the news. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I definitely saw it because we knew that they would do something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's always expected. You know, they'll interview people that they already give them the answers to when it comes to a story, so they can have that sob piece to fit their narrative. We see that all the time, or assume it is, but having actual evidence of them doing this during all these things to inflate numbers and then push, because that during that time they were attacking Trump over not having enough testing, right? So the whole thing was, all right, we have to make the proof that testing is such a big deal, and that's how Trump's failing. You know, so they have people staging being in a car line, and then
Mhm.
all they have to do is just get that close shot, and all you see is a line of cars, and then that's what you have. That's the fake reality that they're creating and putting out there.
Mhm. Yeah. So, do you want to go over the thread that you picked up on Renegade before we go into the rest of these posts, or do you want to go into the posts and then go into Renegade? Because this is really important stuff here.
Right. Well, let's go ahead and just go to the post 4118
Okay.
and talk about that for a minute, and then we'll go over, because I mean it does kind of play into getting into that.
Yeah. All right. So it's an article from the Washington Examiner, written by Byron York, and the content of the post says, "Sorry, Adam, but the game is now over. It doesn't end here. Locked on target. It takes time to remove and install the right people. Sleepers. We are ready." So this is obviously pointing to the length of time that this has all been drawn out. And it's, in line with what Methods and I have been saying for a long time. I mean, President Trump was, looking to create an administration and put people in place that would allow him to strike with surgical efficiency when it was necessary. So over the last 4 years, very slowly, he's been putting these people into place. He's been using interim appointments as necessary. And now we've got DNI Grinnell in there, the acting DNI Grinnell. And he's told Adam Schiff that either Adam Schiff needs to release the docs or he's going to do it himself. So let me get that Byron York information pulled up here. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. So here's the tweet from Byron York. Acting DNI Rick Grinnell tells House Intel Chair Adam Schiff the transcripts are ready to release, all of them. So there's your D class right there. Let's go ahead and look at this article from the Washington Examiner. So he said that there is a big development in the fight over the 53 secret interviews with House Intelligence Committee conducted during its Trump-Russia investigation. Now, Grinnell sent this letter to Chairman Schiff telling him that all 53 of those interviews, over 6,000 pages, have been cleared for public release. So all of the transcripts with our required redactions can be released to the public without any concerns of disclosing classified material. There is no reason for Adam Schiff to be sitting on this stuff anymore. Grinnell has put him on notice, and it's time to release the docs to the public. I mean, D-Class is here in part, and if Adam Schiff doesn't put the documents out, then Grinnell is going to do it himself. I think he's offering to allow Schiff to do it as a courtesy, but I think there's also a part of them that wants to see what Schiff is going to do next. I mean, how is he going to pivot on this?
Right. I know it's a checkmate. It's a really, really bad and great at the same time checkmate. Because I mean, that's over 6,000 pages. We have, the army of people, all the Anons, all the patriots ready to rip it apart, find all those, clips and share it. And this is also information that when this comes out and starts exonerating, Trump to the public even more over the Russia collusion nonsense, Mueller had this information too. Right.
Yeah.
So that's even more evidence that was being withheld from the public. That why did they keep targeting Trump during the entire first term here with this kind of information out there? So yeah, I do believe that this is a big part of D-Class. Mm-hmm. It is a moment that needs to happen because it does put Adam Schiff in the in the hot seat.
And once people see these interviews, and they realized that there was never a there was no reason for them to continue with this, and that Adam Schiff knowingly lied to the public, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. I mean, people are going to be very upset with him. They're going to know that they were misled, and I wonder if there might still be the possibility of some actual legal actions that could be taken against him.
Right. I mean, if you look at the list on that article, and I'll drop it again real quick, for the class to be able to
Sally to go Yates through. Is on there.
Yeah, no, Yates is on there. Podesta's on there.
McCabe.
McCabe's on there. Lynch, Sessions, Roger Stone. Yeah. Is there anything in there that could help him with his situation?
Yeah.
Because he said things on record that was being used against him. Clapper's in there.
Yep.
Steve Bannon. I mean, there's going to be a lot of interesting reads during that. I mean, 6,000 pages that they are afraid of having in public, which means we want them public.
Yes. No, this is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a real big deal. Looney Tune, thanks for dropping Carrie's email. Brutus DM says, there is a subtle weird message in the 1958 movie The Blob. Joe McCarthy had just been disgraced, and the Cold War was very much a fact of life. That's what The Blob is, a creeping red menace, the Cold War. I can totally see that. Looney Tune says, M3 Thoughts, backup name M4 Thoughts.
I'll write that down for future reference.
I was going to say, once your girl gets a Twitter account, you can give her M3 Thoughts. EO2 Dave says, if the tests give you CV by being a false positive, it adds to the numbers. Nothing fishy here, though. And Grayanon says, Jesus said, pick up your mat and walk again. Yes, he did. We got to keep going. So, moving into the rest of this story with Renegade. So, we know that there is a lot of trouble right now for Joe. I mean, just this Tara Reade story alone, he's lost approximately 25% of the Democratic base. 25% fewer people are just not going to support him. And I think it points to the fact that he very well may not be the nominee once we get to November. But we still are not done with the Ukraine stuff. The scandal having to do with Hunter and the Ukraine and Burisma, everything inside that whole mess. And then, the overthrowing of the Ukrainian government under the renegade Biden administration. I mean, that stuff is still there, and it still needs to be fully exposed. But in an effort to stop information from coming out, this is big. Barry has sent a private letter to the National Archives claiming confidentiality, asking them to not release any of these Biden-Ukraine documents. So it begs the question, what is it exactly within those documents that Renegade is afraid of getting out into the public?
Right, 100%. I'm dropping the article here in the chat because we've got a few articles on this topic because you could it paints a picture. So here's the first one. It's from Greg Jarrett. Love him or hate him. It's a great article. And he's trying to claim confidentiality. So he's trying to put a roadblock in. Yeah. Okay. So you've got that information that he just doesn't want out because what else is going to be in there? There's always the accidental. Okay. Well, there's this other information that they come across and it becomes public knowledge. People like this movement and, the great investigative journalists like Solomon and Sarah Carter and everybody are going to follow those leads as well. So it's a Pandora's box. So we have that going on. Now, if you want to move on to the Daily Caller one that was talking about Rand Paul.
Yep, got it.
All right, I'm dropping that link in here for you guys as well, because think about, you've got Obama afraid of having documents coming out. And then you've got Rand Paul being interviewed this morning saying, quote, there could be a smoking gun. Rand Paul says he thinks Obama knew about Biden-Ukraine issues. Mm-hmm. And he says in this interview, and we don't have time to play it here on the show. We barely have time to do anything else that we want to do. But he says that there's rumors going around D.C. that there is smoking gun document type stuff that would tie Obama to directly having knowledge about these things. Now, we know back when during the Obama administration, they were asked in pressers about Hunter Biden and his ties and all that stuff with Burisma. It was used in other circumstances of the question being asked at least a degree or two away from the Obama administration, mm-hmm. asking for them to address it, and then they just wouldn't talk about it publicly. Mm-hmm. But Rand Paul says that there's a rumor going around that there's documents proving the fact that they can't get away from it.
Yeah. I mean, this is something I've heard quite a few times in the past, that the former administration was well aware of Hunter Biden's dealings in Ukraine, his the use of his father's cachet, political power here in the United States to leverage, get money, do deals. But Rand Paul's saying that there is documentation about that. And if it was going to be anywhere, it would be within the National Archives. So there could be some direct call from Barry to leave it alone, to back off, to let Hunter be Hunter. Or it could be something far, far worse. Because remember, like I said, they overthrew the Ukrainian government, and that's already out there. So what else is there inside those archives? And also keep in mind, Barry's been silent for 4 years on this stuff. He hasn't weighed in. He's pretended to be hands off. Meanwhile, he's going around behind the scenes, visiting the same places that President Trump is visiting, probably directing things from his secret, White House 2, whatever you want to call it. And now, he's actually stepping in and saying, don't release these documents. Now, Methods, if I'm not mistaken, the White House and the administration has already been combing through those documents, and they've already gotten a portion of those records. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, you would imagine that they would, right? Because they have this ongoing investigation into the Ukraine stuff. They had put, a specific person over that stuff. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But was it Scott Brady? Isn't he covering this information?
Yeah, he's one of the people. But hey, I think I actually got a copy of that letter here.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, another reason why that Obama and his crew are terrified, because we have, and I'm dropping the link here, that Bongino article that I sent over to you, Red Bill. Obama's excuse on why this is even happening, that they're even investigating, is that we're back to the Russia collusion narrative. That this is Russian disinformation being put out there to do that. So you've got Obama claiming privilege, confidentiality on the information not coming out. You've got discussions of there being possible documents out there that could see the light of day, proving that he is. And then now he's claiming the Russia disinformation thing, which, is definitely been overplayed so many times. We're sick of hearing it. It's a drinking game that would even kill Nancy Pelosi. But
every time they say Russia collusion, take a shot.
Right. So it's definitely, you can see the writing on the wall. Why are they talking about it now? And I mean, didn't Obama just go, I saw a link earlier, didn't he go live or just drop a video today talking about stuff? He's putting himself in the public now more.
Yeah.
And, that's very telling to me.
It is. It is very telling, especially now that we've got this murmuring about Joe potentially not making it to November. If they have to put somebody else in there, then this could be Barack's, initial campaign push to try to help out anybody who's going to be there. And if it was his wife that was in the hot seat there for the Democratic convention, then that makes a lot of sense. And, it also makes you wonder, the information contained in there, does it only have to do with Barry and with Joe, or does Michelle or Mike play into it in some fashion too? I mean, she was fairly hands-on for a first lady. She was doing a lot of stuff herself. There is so many different possibilities here, and I'm really, really anxious to finally get this information out about the Ukraine. We haven't heard anything from Rudy for a while. I mean, do you have any updates, Methods, on what's happening with Rudy and his end of the investigation?
Well, he's still been doing podcasts here or there. Yeah. I'll just be honest about it. I haven't caught the last, few. I need to, catch up on all that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff happening now that's not even Kung Flu related. So it's been exciting. But to that point about, is there anything in the documents about Michelle or Michael, whatever you would call it, to get ahead a little bit on our favorite Anon post today, he was talking about family members being involved in schemes and stuff like that, financial stuff. So that to me would be interesting as well, because what was being done through relatives, when we've got, a relative running, a wife that could potentially be running in this election.
All right. Todd Varner says, Patriots in Fayetteville, Arkansas are awake and with you. Thank you guys for all you do for us. Thanks, Todd. Glad you're here, buddy. Looney Tunes says, Governor DeWine's wife, Ohio, has a radio ad thanking people in Ohio for adjusting to the new norm. No, not the norm. Gotta vote him out, Ohio. Rally up. I completely agree with you there. John Asturias says, confirmed, U.S. Army 1st Security Force Assistance Brigade is in Mexico, advising Mexican Army in counter-narcotics ops. Expect U.S. SOF to be there as well under that cover. Big things to be happening down south. That's great news. Gino says, random thought, I wonder if Biden and Mueller together could complete a sentence. I think that it might be broken English, but they might get one out. Elise Schurer says Michael's not eligible because she's not natural-born woman. I don't know. If there was an actual law prohibiting people who are trans from running for president, I think that there would probably be an uproar. I wonder if I had heard rumblings previously about her ineligibility due to potentially being born outside the country, or maybe it was living outside of the country for a certain period of time. We're going to have to check that one out.
I had somebody send me the original source on that, and it goes to articles that are from like websites I've never heard of before, and they're not like showing like actual evidence about it. So it's still up in the air on all that, because I mean, when it's sourced from things that are from websites that could take an hour to make, I always question, or at least not put stake in it just yet.
Yeah. Well, whatever happens, we're still looking at Trump 2020, baby. Look at that. Trump 2020. White House. We're back in it. We're not leaving. President Trump is not going anywhere. Okay, so let's get back to the posts here. So if we go to the next one, we've got a big post right here, 4119. We've got Boom Week ahead, May 12th of 2019. Boom Week ahead on May 2nd of 2020. And then it says dates are important. So May 12th. So that is a year minus 10 days, isn't it?
Sounds about right. But
yeah,
to me, first off, like, we really don't like to play the date game.
Yeah.
So I was like, thanks 17 for fueling that fire. But I did notice that Anons were digging into what was Schiff doing back in the 2019 date during that week.
Okay.
And he was doing a lot of presser stuff. I meant to get into it, but we just didn't have time before the show. But yeah, as far as that date, to me, it'll be a future proofs past kind of thing. Yeah. I don't want to say, all right, that means that our favorite Anon was, calling that May 12th, so next week is going to be something.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
That's what it reads like, but if it gets to be, May 13th, I don't want to hear that Red Pill Method said it. So yeah. I'm not playing that game. But it's enough for our favorite Anon to point out. So, we'll keep it in the back of our minds.
Interesting. Well, I mean, the fact that we have, May 2nd of 2020 and then May 12th of 2019, and it says Boom Week ahead, it sounds to me, or it would appear to me, that there were things happening behind the scenes that we just didn't know about. You mentioned the Schiff press conferences. There was probably a fair amount of planning going on behind the scenes. This Boom Week stuff, it's open to interpretation. I mean, we're not saying that, I mean, people are always looking for like some giant news, okay? Some big headline that says, this happened or that happened. But you got to keep in mind, we're dealing with, matters of national security and secret intelligence, okay? So there is probably stuff happening behind the scenes, undoubtedly, that we just have no idea to. We're not privy to it.
Right. And real quick, Landon Larson in the chat is bringing up the DNI Grinnell about the transcripts and stuff, saying Schiff can release them. Yeah, we just talked about that a little bit ago, bud.
Yeah.
So when the show is over, just go back and we covered it fully. We've also got 4,700 people hanging out with us. We're really grateful that you're here kicking it with us during this quarantine situation. 1.4 thousand likes. If you guys don't mind clicking that and helping, spread the word on this stuff. And I also want to thank everybody for hitting up our PayPals and super chats. I want to thank the mods and all that.
Thanks, Guy. Okay, so two things. Kathy Cupcake says, don't call it a boom then. Again, just because your definition of a boom doesn't align with the real-world facts of what happened in terms of what our favorite Anon was saying was a boom, doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't make you right. It doesn't make them incorrect. So, again, this is a matter of personal interpretation. Also... who was it? Somebody told me to check out Dr. Judy Mikovits. She's already scheduled for the show. I've already said it a couple of times. Definitely, you guys, Judy Mikovits is coming on the program. I think she's coming next weekend. I got to look at my calendar. But wait a second. No, I think she might be coming this weekend now that I think about it. Sue Randall says, Lou Dobbs interviewed Solomon. He said he has something today, tomorrow. Okay, sweet. Well, keep our eyes open for that. Son of a Green Card says, Feinstein's husband made millions on their dealings with China. We're going to get into that one here in a moment, too. But the next post, 4120, calls back to the Pawpaw, says, Pawpaw positive for CV19 test results, staged fake CBS CV19 reporting. This is the tweet from James O'Keefe, which talks about that the testing center that was set up and faked for CBS. Keep in mind, CBS is also the same channel, if I'm not mistaken, that ran the fake footage of the hospital in Italy. If I'm wrong on that, if it's not CBS, maybe it's ABC, but I'm pretty sure that it was CBS.
All different heads of the same beast, man.
Yes, yeah. 4121, we have a YouTube video, and it says, sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. You must show them only when people find the will to change. And there you go. Let me go ahead and pull it up. We'll see what that actually is.
It's a clip from a movie. I don't know if you could play it.
I can't, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I'm sure everybody's seen it. I tweeted out the clip just in case it gets taken down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's leaning towards, showing the evidence. So there's talking, it reminds me, are we going to get the infamous HRC video that we've been talking about for forever? What kind of evidence is it talking about the evidence that Obama's trying to hide? That's the beauty of this situation, is that there's so much artillery on our side that could be released strategically or all at once. I personally want it all at once. I want to be overwhelmed with stuff that scares them.
Me too.
But we'll see, day at a time, right?
Yeah. And also keep in mind, guys, that the communication on this board is not just to us. Okay, they are communicating with the enemy as much as they are communicating with us. So there are things that are said here which are directed to, maybe mislead them. Obviously they've said disinformation is necessary before. Truthhammer had a great point on Twitter yesterday. He said he was tired of people saying disinformation is necessary and using that as an opportunity to just spew whatever trash they wanted. And I mean, it goes along with, what we say here on the program quite often. Theory is one thing, but a fact is another. But just because, disinformation is necessary, that doesn't mean that it's meant for us. I think that when disinformation is published on the board, it's meant for them because it makes them think that something's going to happen, and then they expend all their ammunition. So the next post is a web page from the FBI, and it's frequently asked questions from the FBI. And the question is, can I obtain detailed information about a current FBI investigation that I see in the news? And the answer is no. Such information is protected from public disclosure in accordance with current law and Department of Justice and FBI policy. This policy preserves the integrity of the investigation and the privacy of individuals involved in the investigation prior to any public charging for violations of the law. It also serves to protect the rights of people not yet charged with a crime. Now, I think this is directly pointing to the kind of tit for tat that we just had with Christopher Wray this week. We've been told before, trust Wray. Wray has been portrayed as somebody who is not forthcoming. And as we've said before, you can't talk about a case that has not publicly been disclosed or is still in the process of being investigated. Methods, do you agree with what I just said?
Oh, I agree. So let's say that this information then comes out publicly and then Wray gets called to testify. That's when I'm watching him to say, okay, is he a snake or not? Is he making excuses? Is he trying to do damage control? Not just for the FBI as an establishment, but for what happened. That's where I make my decisions, is when I can read people like that. But no, I agree. Like, certain things can't be talked about.
Yeah.
When they are a part of an investigation. And all because we've been paying attention and looking for any, glimpse of behind the curtain on this stuff for so long that, saying ongoing investigations is just like saying boom, like it kind of gets old. And I hear everybody on that, but it is our reality right now.
Yeah. War is a Racket says pawpaws are tropical, not in Tennessee. That is not correct. Pawpaws are even in Illinois. It is, I think that Native Americans used to cultivate them here in the United States. They grow in a couple different areas, and there are different varieties of pawpaw. I've had pawpaw right here in the heartland of the United States of America. So, they can grow. Definitely. Mark for the win says, liked, shared, and saved. Comfy, comfy, comfy. Prayers 222. Sue Randall, thanks again for that. Thank you, Mark. Sarah Domine says, post 997, something about the Pope having a bad May. He appeared to be a hologram in April, so maybe he will be the number one to fall that shocks the world. It very well could be. I mean, we're just going to have to keep our eyes open on that one. But just getting back to this whole thing about Christopher Wray. Somebody in the chat said, I don't like Wray. Well, I'll tell you that Christopher Wray is not in that position to be anybody's friend, okay? He's there to run the FBI. He's there to oversee the investigations. He responded to that letter, which essentially called him out from Jim Jordan, and I can't remember the other person. And he said in the response that he has fully complied with John Durham's investigation, and then somebody else. Who was the other one that he complied with? But the important part was John Durham. He's not withholding information. He's giving it to the person who could actually use it in an investigation. I think that is very, very important. So Christopher Wray may not seem like an overly friendly guy, maybe not somebody you'd want to hang out with and drink a beer and have a steak, but I think he actually is doing his job, and I would be a lot more concerned if I was seeing leaks come out of Christopher Wray's FBI. I think the fact that they are being so tight-lipped, it points to the fact that they're doing their job in the way that they need to. Mark Ellsworth says Trump and Biden should debate. They can keep their social distance. They can televise it. I don't think that Biden is ever going to step on stage with President Trump or even do a televised debate from a closed circuit in two different locations. I don't see it. Biden would absolutely be wrecked by President Trump. There's no way. They won't let him do it. Joe C. says, Boom Week planned date for a Looking Glass project. And that could be, too. Another one of those things that future will prove past. All right, so post 4123, we've got two different things here. We've got a Twitter status, and then we've got an article. So the Twitter status here is some footage from Dianne Feinstein. Methods, you found this a couple months back, didn't you?
Right, yeah, a couple of different people covered it. Yeah. So no, I'm happy. Michael Beatty's a friend on Twitter, great account. I suggest following him for sure. He does a lot of what I try to do, going back and finding clips and showing their relevancy now. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm happy for him.
All right. So back in 2013, Dianne Feinstein announces California opens a California-China Trade and Investment Office. Listen as she explains her special connection with Shanghai leaders going back to the 1970s.
Also, to the Bay Area Council and the many California businesses and economic development organizations that have made this important private-public partnership possible. And thank you to our many partners and friends in China for your strong commitment to growing the economic and cultural ties between our two great countries. I'm especially pleased that California's first trade office has its home in Shanghai. And I have a very special connection with Shanghai. As mayor of San Francisco a long time ago, I had the honor of establishing a sister city relationship with Shanghai. It was the first sister city relationship between a United States and a Chinese city. And to this very day, I remember Mayor Wang Daohan very well, and Jiang Zemin and Mayor Zhu Rongji, two of which, both Zhang and Zhu, became president and premier, respectively, of the country. The relationship, though, yielded tremendous economic and cultural benefits
for her.
And that's been true over the past 30 years. I know this new office will build on the powerful and unique partnership between California and China. So thank you again as you make this the century of the Pacific.
So what do you guys want to bet that Dianne Feinstein started the whole infiltration of the Chinese government into the United States? That was back in the 70s, mayor of San Francisco, and she worked directly with people who became the president and premier of China. And now today, look where we're at. Now, don't forget, Dianne Feinstein also had a Chinese spy who drove her around. And the information in the Post says, connected, how do you come secure non-publicly? Define back channel. So I would bet a pretty hefty sum that Dianne Feinstein's Chinese spy driver was probably a back channel between her and the Chinese government, and it facilitated a whole lot of stuff that happened between our two countries and the infiltration of the Chinese into this country.
Right. I mean, your driver would be with you wherever you went, right?
Right. So, yeah.
Being able to have that information, you're privately in the car with them, it can all be forwarded and such. But I suggest you go ahead and just cover the next post because it's directly connected.
Well, real quick, Navy Vet says, do you think this could be a suicide weekend? It could. Floricio says, in our family business, we needed to let everyone go. We got stimulus money, but We will get it back because to hire employees back with no penalty, no business open makes 0 cents, and we would be stuck paying that money back. System fails us. I'm so sorry to hear that, Floor. I'm really hoping that this shutdown ends very, very soon because you're one of many businesses that are suffering here in the United States. And when your business suffers, then your employees suffer, and that causes a ripple effect that goes all throughout the community and the rest of the country. I've been waiting for them to put out another stimulus package. Whatever happened with that, Methods? Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I mean, they're still having debates and stuff over passing more bills. I haven't seen anything new about it. If it's out there, I've been trying to cover everything else.
Yeah.
Because they did talk about that, right? Doing each month as this was going on. So I'm not sure, to be honest with you. If anybody in the chat knows or whatever, send us a DM with the information. We appreciate it.
Well, it's a shame, and Flora, I'm really hoping that we can get open so that your business can recover. Looney Tune says, no wonder San Fran is a poop hole. Just saying. All right, so going to the next post, we've got an Anon says, Feinstein 17 drop. She says private-public partnership. And then we have a graphic. Let me pull that up, and then we'll zoom in on it. This is from another Anon, and it quotes her, I have a very special connection with Shanghai, and then it gives that link to Liberty Nation. A 1997 Los Angeles Times article is crucial in detailing just how cozy Feinstein had become with Chinese officials at the time. The article details how Feinstein's husband, Richard C. Bloom, began investing in China with one project worth less than $500,000 in 1992 before suddenly planning on investing $150 million 2 years later. At the exact same moment that Bloom's Chinese investment began to skyrocket, Feinstein's role on U.S. policy towards China expanded. In January 1995, she became a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, giving her a prominent platform for her efforts to support China's trade privileges, the Times reported. Now, the 1997 article also reveals that Feinstein made 3 visits since 1995 to meet with senior Chinese officials, including President Jiang Zemin, bringing her husband along each time. So it was a family affair for Dianne Feinstein and her husband. I need to move my desk up real quick. There we go.
While you're doing that real quick, John Smith brought up a great point on the thing about the stimulus stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Congress is on a break. It totally slipped my mind because they don't want to come back. So yeah, of course, nothing is getting done when it comes to that because Trump's been goading them to come back and do things for the American people. So yeah, thank you, John. We can't remember everything.
Yeah, appreciate it, buddy. Woman on Thin Ice says, what does presidential seal look like during wartime? Is it used at the presser? Thanks, RP. As far as I know, the presidential seal doesn't change. I know that there has been a lot of talk recently about that seal being present or not being present, but I have to admit, I don't know what it means. So we'll have to go ahead and take a look. Now, taking a look here at the rest of the post, it says, is it really so hard to believe that our elected officials in our government who are enriching themselves at the expense of our country, national security, why do they always include their spouse, son, daughter, etc.? Follow the money. Well, you know, it makes sense that they're using their family because those are the people that they can trust the most. Husbands and wives cannot be compelled to testify against each other. So who better to use as your partner in crime than your husband, your wife, your children? You're basically setting up your lineage. Making sure that this new American royalty continues at the expense of the American taxpayer and at the expense of our national security.
Right, and it's also great bribery when the families are involved and they're a part of the corruption as well. So they know that the Feinsteins and the other people that have their families involved are going to play ball because it's wrapped up their family.
Yep, exactly. Joe C. says 4 booms needed for Looking Glass Boom Week. How many booms have we had recently? It's just been single booms, right? I haven't been counting, to be honest with you. Then Mark Ellsworth says Trump should challenge Biden to a debate. I know he wants one. Same location, not separate, national televised. They don't need an audience, just a moderator. I would love nothing more than to see President Trump and Joe Biden on stage together. I think Joe Biden would fold like a paper cup, but something tells me that they are never going to allow it. I think Biden will be out of the race before that's even a possibility, unfortunately.
I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Control the media, control the narrative, control the people. A nice little meme. All assets deployed. Social media yesterday versus today versus tomorrow. Win by any means necessary. Everything is at stake. Now, this goes back to that article that came out about Ratcliffe, trying to condemn him as a supporter of people who follow our favorite Anon. He tried to condemn him as a supporter of certain theories that exist about the true nature and history of this country and certain actions that have taken place, attacks, if you will. And they're using all of the information in their arsenal and their abilities to try to just, slam this movement, slam the people who are patriots here in this country. There was something very interesting that came out. It looks like Discord, somehow some activists got the private chat logs and Discord information for several different servers. A couple that had something to do with this movement, and then a couple that they tried to peg as neo bad guys from World War II. So they're lumping all of that together to try to just, make it look like everybody in this movement is somehow a supremacist. John Asturia says, a staple of any military operation is deception, disinformation. Think the Ghost Army and the Normandy campaign in 1944-45. Excellent point. Big Mike Loves Barry. Don't Ukraine docs link Barry and Biden to mercenary hits ordered on 100 Ukraine civilians during the Maidan Square Kiev uprising in 2013. Barry aide Chambada called it in. You guys are killing it. Thanks for everything. I would absolutely love if there were documents in the National Archive that tied Barry and Joe directly to that massacre that happened in the Maidan protests that happened back in 2013. Methods, did you follow that Ukraine uprising that was happening back then?
I didn't follow it back then, and I do know kind of what they're talking about. I saw various threads pointing at it. I didn't look into it enough because some of the things seemed like speculation. Oh. But if it did happen, it would make sense. But I'm sure somebody will probably DM me with actual sauce now that I said that.
I was watching live coverage of it every single day. So I saw all of the various factions. I saw what actually happened in the Maidan. There were people who were dressed, they were mercenaries essentially, that were on top of buildings, and they were sniping people, okay? And it allowed for the U.S. to come in and take action. A bunch of people lost their lives. Journalists specifically lost their lives, and the journalists that were there covering, they had like attire on that designated them as journalists, and they're supposed to be able to go in there and not have to worry about getting, killed. But they did, and it allowed for the United States to come in there. So if there are documents tying the U.S. and the State Department, Victoria Nuland, to that stuff, I think everybody already believes that that's exactly what happened. But I want this sauce, because what they did was disgusting. And I'll be honest, this was back when Vice News used to actually do like real reporting and wasn't just an all Trump hate channel. They've completely changed. They used to go into far-flung places all over the world and cover stuff like that, and they were the only place that you could find information. And they have completely destroyed themselves. It's a really sad thing to see. But that's fine, because we're here to pick up the slack. Tranquility Base, Lee over on Patriot News, huge Feinstein dig. Okay, sweet, good job, Lee. Dog Dad Patriot, they should pay-per-view RBG and Feinstein in an MMA match televised from Gitmo. My money is on RBG. She don't die, she multiply. We don't die, we multiply. Looney Tune says, April Lejeune, great guest for Nasara. Okay, I don't know that I'm going to do another Nasara, guys. I don't think I'm even going to try. I'll be really honest with you. Let's see. Okay, so that's all of that. Got him.
Well, to that point on that post about the social media stuff, we've been talking about it a lot lately because it is in the back of our minds. Like, we built up these platforms to be able to make a difference, get all the information spread, especially for when like major D-class stuff happens or covering anything that needs to be covered to help, Trump with the election and, Republicans for this election for that matter. We will adapt. We will keep going. If they were to eradicate me from Twitter entirely, make it impossible. Assume I probably will go under different names. Assume I will be doing a lot more live stream stuff. I'll just hop on anybody's channel that wants to have me on to talk about these things. Same thing. I'm sure for Red Pill. We will always put in the amount of effort that we are now, if not more.
Right.
But that goes for a lot of people out there, because accounts get taken down, big or small. It happens, but we find our ways to still get the information out there, even if it's not attached to our names. But it is going to get worse. There's no reason to expect that it won't, because this is the biggest election of our lifetime outside of 2016.
So the last post that we have is just a video for it's a YouTube video, and it is entitled 2006 320, so March 20th 2006, IR laser painting target. Let's go ahead and watch. Well, I guess we'll watch with sound, because it's not going to be anything that's copyrighted. So let me turn it up.
That is an IR spotlight. Here they come.
All right, I'll turn the sound off. I don't think it's necessary. So, what do you think they're showing here, Methods? I mean, they're just showing their abilities back in 2006. If they were able to paint people up with IR lasers, then what kind of technology do they have now?
Well, I'll take it in a different direction.
Please.
Entirely. Think about what our favorite Anon has been talking about a lot lately. Drawing our attention to things like, the MB, the Brotherhood, if you will, all these different things that our favorite Anon has been pointing to. What is he doing? It's a laser pointer, right? So drawing everybody from around the world's attention to certain key situations to then bring in the onslaught offensive attack. That's how I see that clip. But that's where my head's at.
Hey, big shout out to my buddy Nate Kane. He's in the audience, the Clinton whistleblower. He had a really interesting find. I saw it on his Twitter last night. There was a show on USA back in the early 2000s called Dead Zone. It was based on a certain author's work of the same name. But then they had an episode, season 2, episode 14, where they have this mystery virus. And the symptoms are exactly the same as what we see now. They go into a lockdown. They're forced to wear masks. And the cure for the virus is chloroquine. A pretty strange bit of predictive programming. I'm actually going to see if I can't pull that up to drop it in here, you guys, because I thought that was pretty crazy. You need to see it if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I had a lot of people send that to me, and I kind of just see the top of it. I'm like, all right, it's another, I don't want to say coincidence, but a script that you can fit to real time and all that. But I actually took the time and watched the clip after having it sent to me enough, and I was like, okay, this is a little bit more than a script that happened to nail it. It's naming everything now. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, if they had a script, or maybe somebody saw this episode and then they used it. They were like, we could do that in real life. So definitely, you guys, check out that link from my buddy Nate Kane. If you have not yet, follow Nate Kane on Twitter. He puts out great stuff. Absolutely love it. So and thanks for showing up, Nate. I appreciate you being here, guys. All right, so just over 5,300 people watching, 2.1 thousand likes. You guys, I implore you, if you have not yet, consider leaving a like on this video. Consider sharing it to help us get the information out. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to spend the day with us. EO2 Dave says, it looks like Laser is on shift today. That could be it. Red Pills Warhawk says, who would win in a fight, Oprah Winfrey or Big Mike? Man, that's a tough one.
Oh,
Oprah's, she's got the stance, but Mike's got the height. So we'll see.
I wouldn't put money on either side.
Yeah. I mean, they probably just end up rolling around at the end. All right. Well, thank you to everybody who showed up today to help us spend this time here on Quarantime. Thank you to everybody who participated. Thank you to everybody who shared and liked this video. Thank you to Methods for always being such an incredible co-host. I really appreciate you, and I don't think that there is another person I would want to spend this much time with besides my direct family, my girlfriend and my family.
I appreciate it, man. Same, the feeling's mutual.
Yeah.
Love that everybody hanging out. Before everybody, dips out of here, do we want to go ahead and announce what we're doing this Sunday?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, it would kind of... Okay, I'll cover it. So since this Sunday is Mother's Day, we had been having a discussion on if we were going to do a show at all.
Yeah.
But Red Pill, we had the idea, and Red Pill talked to his mother, who it might be out in the chat. Shout out to Red Pill's mother. She's going to be our special guest for our Mother's Day special.
That's right.
Hang out, spend some time with her. We also had the discussion because, like myself, who my mother had passed away. I know a lot of you guys know that. That date means a little bit. It's different for us, and we wanted to do a show to at least hang out, spend time with everybody, especially for those that don't have that time or have that time to spend with someone that they lost.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a Mother's Day special. His mother will be on for the second hour. I will probably grill her for Red Pill stories from his childhood to be able to learn things that he otherwise would not say on air. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we're still doing a show. And we've also got a lot of great guests coming up on future Comfy Sundays. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, you guys, lots of incredible guests coming up. Many incredible guests also coming up on the weekend live streams. You can bet we will be here delivering the content as long as we possibly can. All right, guys, thank you very much, Methods, for being here once again. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to everybody who is part of this movement. We appreciate you guys, and let's keep bringing the truth. Good luck, and God bless.
Much love, everybody.